It's true, bamboo bedding is dreamy to sleep on. That's why Quince aptly named their Bamboo Dream Quilt Set. Coming in 12 colors, you're absolutely going to love this quilt and 2 shams set. Starting at the softest of pinks and going all the way to a dark navy. It's going to be perfect for anyone's room. Your own, your guest rooms, your kids' rooms, maybe even back to the dorm bedding. Quince has everything you need to elevate your space, from bedding to soft organic towels, airy curtains, and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And of course, as you know, Quince has gorgeous cashmere and other wardrobe essentials. And the best part, Quince's products are half the cost of similar brands. They partner with top artisans and cut out the cost of the middleman, passing the savings on to us. Thank you, Quince. And they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, so you can feel good about your purchases from Quince. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. Hey everybody, it's Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks Plus, DTT Plus, where you get more of us. And today we're discussing Built to Rent. What is it, and is it for you?
Yeah, there's a lot to these. There are communities that offer single-family homes with rental agreements that have amenities normally found in condos or apartment complexes. So you're actually in a house, but it was a house built to rent from the get-go. So it's very different than just renting just a house in a neighborhood. It's a very interesting concept.
I didn't know anything about it until you suggested that we chat about it. And I think it is a really terrific way to go for a lot of people, or could be a terrific way to go for a lot of people. So I knew about Built for Speed, but I didn't know about Built to Rent. So we're going to talk about it today. If you live in a place like that, let us know what you think, and is it working for you? There's a lot of things to consider, and there's a lot of upside.
Right. I mean, it's definitely, just something to consider. There's some pluses and some minuses. So this is an option for people who can't afford to buy a home, or for people who don't want the responsibility of owning a home. So this could be for someone who's maybe downsizing. Maybe they're going to travel a lot and they want the sense of having the space of having a home, having a yard, but they don't want to deal with any maintenance, but they want all these amenities. It could be someone like that, or it could be somebody young who really wants the feeling of having a home, but they can't afford to pay a mortgage. But the other thing is, you don't have to qualify for a loan either. So there's a lot of parts here, not just having to pay that loan, but also qualifying. So if that's an issue for you, but you want all these amenities, then I think this is an option for you.
I think another great demographic of people that this could work for are people that want to try out a new city, or people that maybe get transferred to a new location for their job and they're not sure if they're going to like it there, or if they're going to stay, or maybe they're only going to be there for a short period of time and they don't want to go into the whole process of buying a home, yet they want the space and, as you mentioned, the amenities of living in a private single family home, but they don't want to have that commitment and then the hassle of trying to sell it. Depending on what the real estate market is like, a couple of years down the line, you just don't know. It's kind of risky. So I think this could work for a lot of people at a lot of different phases in their life.
Well, that's a good point. If this is for long term, the downside is you're not building equity in a home. So it might be more for a short term situation. So these homes usually have a garage that connects to the kitchen. There's a front yard, a backyard, a patio. They have resort-style amenities. There's usually a neighborhood pool, workout facilities, parks, walking trails, pickleball courts, all the things that you would expect maybe in a condo or maybe a high-end kind of gated community where they have all these amenities. The maintenance is taken care of, as you might expect, because it is a rental. Landscaping, appliances, pest control, and more. It's all taken care of. But if you were renting a house individually from an individual, you'd be responsible for care of the yard. They might be responsible for the appliances, but you would probably be responsible for pest control. So as far as what you're responsible for, it's more like what you would have to handle if you were in an apartment or a condo.
Yeah, just call the guy, right? Call the maintenance people. If there's a superintendent, just call them. Hey, we've got a leak. We've got a raccoon in the ceiling or something. That is a really nice thing. I have a couple of clients who have recently moved, and they're not just older people downsizing, just people that decided they didn't want to be in a single family, traditionally owned home anymore because they want to travel more. So it's a kind of a lock and leave situation.
So what did they do? Did they move to a condo? What did they do?
Yeah, so it was more of a condo situation. The condos around here, I mean, they vary in size, but they do have some really large ones, particularly in Pasadena. So you could have almost the equivalent square footage of a normal size single family home in a condo. And I'm sure you can do that in other places as well. And that's what it sounds like these are like. But traditionally maybe just a wee bit smaller. You're getting a nice amount of square footage, and you're getting usually single floor living, which is also nice for, again, no matter what phase you are in your life, that is a nice setup, and a yard and a garage and all of that. So it's kind of got all the bells and whistles of a single family standalone traditional house living, but without mowing the lawn or paying someone to mow the lawn. I just recently had to have like 3 or 4 things. They seem to go all at one time, right?
Don't they? Isn't that the truth?
The dryer, the this, the that. And, so this is kind of interesting. I had, as I mentioned earlier, I had no idea that something like this existed. You might say to yourself, well, why are they even talking about this? Well, it is, of course, where you live is the foundation of how you're going to decorate it, right? So, and these are newer builds. So, you're probably going to get in there and it's all going to be really nicely and freshly done, which, is often nice. You're not going to have to do a big renovation either. Although I get all tingly when I think about transformation and renovation, but there is something to be said about walking in with your toothbrush. I've never done that. I mean, that might be a nice thing to do someday.
I do get jealous of Evie because she'll say, oh yeah, this broke. I called the supervisor and they came over the next day and fixed it. I'm like, wow, what would that be like? I'm the person that has to call and then I pay the bill.
I'm the superintendent and then I get to pay the bill
an unpaid position that costs me money. That's right. But I get the privilege of living in this home.
So have you tried Dupe yet? If you haven't, come on, dupe.com. It is going to be your new shopping best friend. And it's not just for furniture. I know I've shared with you about my coffee table dupe, but you can save money with Dupe on fashion, shoes, jewelry, and more. I just used Dupe to find an absolute perfect twin of this t-shirt that I wanted. It was an $80 t-shirt. I was not going to pay $80 for a t-shirt. Dupe helped me find the twin, like maybe the exact same shirt. Find something you love, and then you can find replicas, twins, and maybe the exact thing for so much less. Give Dupe a try today. It is really so easy to use. You just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and voila, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account is required. No sign up is required. It is completely free. I know, can you believe it? But it is completely free to use. Stop wasting money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today.
It definitely has some advantages. And like you said, it's got lots of perks to it. So it's much more luxurious than just renting a regular home because it does have all these amenities. But like you said, they do tend to be smaller. And because I think they do keep in mind maybe empty nesters, they do tend to be one story and have just a 1-car garage and on a very small lot. So it's really kind of someone who wants an in-between. They want a house, but not something too big. And I would think that these are probably nicer, but again, your neighbors are all going to be renters. You're not going to have people that own the home that have been there for, maybe 20 years like you would have in a traditional neighborhood. I did find that there's a lot of these in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and there's some in Florida. In fact, one I found in Florida is called Highland at Park Lane in Central Florida. I found some north of Austin here in Texas. So they're not, I don't know that they're all over the country, but there are some communities where they're very popular.
Yeah, I did a little Google search to see if there was any in California, and it just came up with a developer's site. When I was reading about it in prep for the conversation we're having today, initially I was saying, well, how is this different than an apartment? Well, you have to come back to the idea that you're actually renting a house. So you are actually renting what would be a single family house, usually completely detached, not even a townhome. So it is more of a standalone thing. It's not like, Evie's apartment, or, if you're in an apartment building or a condo complex where you're all on different floors and you have hallways and elevators and things like that. You're not going to have that in this built to rent sort of situation. So it is really a hybrid, I think, and it just makes sense. I mean, it's fueled by maybe millennials. So maybe Evie's group, right? They're maybe not ready, or they don't have the funds to purchase a home or get the loan, or they might be moving around for their work right now. Or yes, maybe people at the point where they want to downsize, but they don't want to go into an apartment building. They'd rather be in a standalone home that's more manageable. I think that's a great demographic for it. And just the lack of supply overall of housing, sort of the best of both worlds in a way. And you don't have to fight to purchase a home. I mean, I couldn't believe when my mother-in-law put the family home that my husband grew up in on the market after 50 years and not much had been done. I couldn't believe how much it went over ask. Apparently the market is insane.
Oh, I think it's still kind of crazy. So I think it's a great idea for somebody younger who really wants to kind of test it out and see if they like the idea of being in a home, because it's very different from being in an apartment, I think, being in a house. So I think this is a good way to test it out. I could see trying it out short term, but for long term, you're not building up equity. I don't know how much these cost, but it might be about the same monthly cost to be making a house payment. So I'm not convinced it's a great idea long term, especially if you're wanting to build house equity. And considering that is one of the biggest investments people have is in their home, and that often does grow, you would be losing out on this great investment opportunity as far as investing in a home. So I think long term, it seems, in my opinion, might not be the best unless you've got money to throw around. And I can also see a situation on the other end where someone doesn't need the money. Maybe they're downsizing. They've invested. They've made a lot of money on maybe 3 or 4 homes, 5 homes, whatever they've bought over the years. Maybe they've invested well. And they're saying, we still like the idea of a home. We don't, because some people are just not apartment people. Some people are not condo people. I can see that working for them, just saying, I'm just going to spend the money. I don't need the investment opportunity here. I'm just going to spend it. I don't care if I have anything for my kids to inherit, then I think it might work for them. So, I mean, I can really see, and honestly, I wish there was something like this for my mom, because she's on 40 acres and it's just too much, and she's up in the years, and so it's getting to be way too much for her.
Well, on 40 acres, Anita, come on, you could build one of these communities on the 40 acres and start selling and renting these things out. I mean, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah, don't think I'm interested in doing that, and I don't think she's in the right.
And Oklahoma is one of the states they already have.
Not
these.
Where she is, though. Yes, she is not. She is in a very rural area where I don't see where these people could be working to pay for these places. But on paper, it sounds great, Kelly.
So you're really saying short term or end term?
Ooh,
seems to be
end
where
term.
this would
Ouch.
work.
Ouchie, ouchie.
I mean, it doesn't mean that the end term has to be short term.
Are you saying it's like the Hotel California? You move in, but you don't move out?
I think it could be really something that a lot of people would like to explore. Anyway, I was glad to know about it. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. And just getting back to something you mentioned about, you're not going to have neighbors who have been there for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe you would, but as you point out, that's not a great way to invest or spend your money. If you're going to stay there a long time, upwards of 5-10 years, then you might as well try to buy a home, right? Or buy a condo or something like that. Buy something you can afford. But I think the way that these are set up, now, of course, I've never visited one but I'm kind of picturing it where, because the homes are smaller and the lots are smaller, you would be encountering your neighbors a lot.
Right.
And then if you've got a pool and a fitness facility and, maybe some other things on property that are part and parcel of the whole community, maybe you would be a really nice way to make friends, you don't have to
I think
find
so.
new BFFs, but neighborly type of friendships, because you wouldn't be on like 40 acres in a rural community by yourself. You'd be, people would be walking their dogs. A lot of them had front porches.
Well, I think for sure this is set up with all the amenities. You would get to know your neighbors. And if you wanted to be social with them, I think you could very easily be, because you are in close proximity with them. But if you wanted to live kind of with, not having a lot of contact with them, I think you could do that as well. But as to your point about if you're going to be in a place for a while, then it probably makes more sense to invest in a condo or a home, single family home. Having done a little research on that, and this was specific to Houston, so this may be different in other markets, the housing market has gone nuts since the pandemic, for example, in Houston, as it has in most areas. But when I was looking at the investment opportunities for condos, they did not have the price increases that the single family homes did. And even pre-pandemic, they just didn't. From what I can see, they don't seem to be a great investment. I mean, if you want to live there, great, but don't expect to make money on a condo in Houston, in my opinion.
The bottom line is you're not creating any equity. So that is, I think, the biggest drawback to this, of course. But if you can't, this is a great option. And I love the idea of management team on property.
Right. And then, like you said, short term, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're wanting to, like you said, check out an area or test out the concept of living in a home. See if you just really love it a lot more than living in an apartment. But also keep in mind, this is going to be more expensive than just renting a traditional house from an individual owner. You'll get a lot more amenities, but it is going to be priced higher too. So it's give and take. It's whatever you're looking for.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, and I enjoyed the conversation with you. Hopefully it helped some people if they, just have another option out there in the world. And if you hadn't heard of it, we can put a link in the show notes to some of the articles that we reviewed to prep for the episode.
That sounds great. And thanks so much for hanging out with us. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.